Good evening, class. And good evening, our viewers. Welcome to our marriage classroom. Again, we keep learning and we never tire from learning, because this is what we have been called to do now that we got into marriage, isn't it? Yes. And you know what you call it, kwa hiari. So it said hakuna mtu aliwekelewa hapa Ghana akasema oa huyu or get married. Yes, so you chose, you fell in love, and you got married. Now, maybe when we have reviewed, we have realized we can make our marriages better. Not enduring, but enjoying. Tumekuwa tukisoma juu ya verbs au vitendo vinaweza tolewa kutoka alphabet. Alphabeti. Inaitwa herufi. Aya, tu alphabeti. Tunaweza pata. So, tumefika last time mwalimu aliwafunza kutoka gani? Which was the last letter last time? Yes? You. Na tukasema you ni? Understand. Yes, understand. We understand our husbands, we understand our wives, and when we live in understanding with one another, knowing that the Bible says we are heirs of the same, you know, we of the same promise, isn't it? Kwa sababu sasa tumekuwa tumeamini, tuko katika hiyo doa, we make it easier for one another to go to heaven. Kwa sababu tukikosea, kwa sababu ya doa mmoja wetu asiende mbinguni, then hiyo ni makosa. Two are better than one. So when we live with one another in understanding, then we recognize that we are both heirs of the same promise. Si moja anaenda straight perpendicularly heaven, mwingine anaenda horizontally au zigzag au anaenda chini. Okay, asanti. Haya, leo tunajifunza herufi ingine. Which one follows you? Yes. Yes, thank you. V. So, get me action verbs, positive, that start with V. Value. Yes, Jeffrey. Victim, no. The victim is on the negative. You said positive. It's like victimize. What? But it's also a verb. It's only that it is not positive. Haina, I mean, no, in Kiswahili sijui positive ni kusema nini? Saidia? Hey, what is positive? Wachana na hiyo. Voluntary. Victory. Volunteer, yes. Vindicate. Yes. Yeah, vindicate. That's a nice one. Verify. Vision. We can use the word validate. Okay, same as vindicate. So, and it's good. So we pick one of them. Yes, Costa? Vote for them. Yes, we can vote for them or vote for them when it's like umesema ndiye huyo. But it's very positive, vote. Kwa sababu una vote mtu yule umeshaamini na unajua ataaminika Okay, that's okay. So we will not use vote or the other. We are going to use the word value. Okay. Value. What do you mean by valuing? Dhamini. So, kudhamini ni kusema nini kwa Kiswahili? You know, you know what you are doing? You are giving me then the other name in another language, but you've not explained. So now use Kiswahili, nieleze kudhamini ni kusema nini? No, that's amerude Kiingereza. Okay, it's okay. To esteem, that is all right. To value is to esteem. Kutambua, yes. That is very good. It's kutambua. It's like you're recognizing. Yes, Constance? What is that? Udhamana. It's the same. Kudhamana. Keep the dhamana. Oh, yes. The same. That's what you wanted to say? Yeah. Okay, yes, when we talk about valuing, we mean we are talking about considering something or someone with respect, heshima. Kwa hivyo kuna hiyo kuheshimu mtu kwa sababu akona, umejua dhamana yake. Then the other thing is, we say you consider somebody with respect, worth. Worth ni dhamana. Heshima ni respect, worth. Then the other thing is excellence. Excellence ni kusema? When something is excellent is imedhibitika. Okay? Yes, you're very nice, okay? Then we talk about usefulness. You value something because it has, it has respect, with respect, worth, excellence, usefulness. And then something else is importance. You can't say, I value my car. You don't even use it. Okay? And not misuse, use it, okay? If you value your watch, that means you always have that watch. Like you don't value something and just hide it and keep it away. Because even the part of usefulness, how much of it do you use? If I find you always having that phone, I know you value it. If I see you always wearing that dress, maybe you have bought a dress or something, or a shoe by your spouse, and then every other time you are going to a very important meeting, unaiva, anajua, unadhamini hiyo. Okay? Why? Kwa sababu unaitumia, si ati misuse, ni kwa sababu unaona ni ya dhamana. Unanielewa? So that is also the same way. When we value one another, means we regard one another with respect. Kwa hivyo katika hata kuongea juu yake na kuongea na yeye, you do it with respect. Then the other one is worth. You already know who she is worth or who he is worth. Ile inanishangaza katika ndoa ni wakati watu wanaoana wakiwa, they are in love. You go hata kwa wazazi, unaomba, upewe ruhusa au unapeleka mahari. Then after that, watu wakiwa katika ndoa wanakosea heshima kwa mwingine. You have no respect for one another. That means you don't value what you came with or what you bought. So you realize, if you find yourself now misusing, let's say like you don't even value. Hata unaweza sema sasa, even before the children you are quarreling over the children, I think we are not valuing one another. Mwalimu, nieleze, what do you mean by when people tend to, how can people show the excellence of the other person? Okay, part of showing the value is to be able to recognize their excellence.
Nafikiri ni kuappreciate. Ni kuappreciate wakati pia wanapofanya jambo fulani. Na unamueleza mtu, mke amepika chakula, sio tu kula tu peke yake, lakini ile kumueleza yako kwamba hiyo chakula kilikuwa kizuri. Hilo jambo nafikiri ni kuonyesha.
Okay. That's okay, and that's good. When we realize that when you can show the excellence of I believe when this man who is saying, okay, it's not a man, but in the Psalms, some Proverbs 31, when this man says, other women have done well, but you excel them all. This is a man who values the wife, okay? In fact, even says your worth is this. Even the Bible is saying that who can find a virtuous woman? Her worth is more than rubies. That means even her value cannot be compared to money, not even to the stones, because there is the worth. So he recognizes the worth. And we are able to thrive and grow in a relationship where we feel loved, cared, and valued. When you feel like your worth, your value is there. You are not demeaned. It's sad sometimes when you find in some of the things that we even share with maybe pastors when you're going for counseling. One of the things is, huyo mtu haniheshimu, au my wife haniheshimu, huwa ana mbele ya wazazi wake, au anaenda kunisema juu yangu, anaenda kusema mambo ingine. By the way, that is about value. Because if we value somebody, I know we talked about the understanding and trusting. It's true. But now here we're talking about unajua dhamana ya huyo mtu. Okay? Dhamana yake ni aje, ya kwamba nikiongea juu my husband na kwa wewe, how do I nitakuacha ukimweka wapi? You know, pale hivi. Unajua kuna vile hata sisi ndio tuna haribu whatever the worth of our spouses. Why? Because sometimes naweza kuja nikwambia, unajua mzee wangu, unajua hata ukimwona huko, wewe ndio umjui, then nakueleza. Sasa wewe after that ukimwona unasema ai, hakuna. Now that's when we don't value one another. The same way, even when husbands talk and they are talking about what their wives do not do or what they don't do well, you don't, huo si kumheshimisha. Okay? It is making them, ni kufanya yeye awe duni au adunishwe katika macho yao. Naona Constance uko na kitu nataka kusema.
Ugenyo umesema
ni hivyo.
Unaongea ukweli kabisa. Tumeharibu maneno kabisa. Na tunafaa tutubu kama sisi wenye tuko kwa doa. Kwa sababu tumeharibiana jina sana. Na bado tunarudi the same house, tunakuwa kitu moja tena. Na huko nje tunaenda tukiraruana. Tukirudi kwa nyumba tunarudi tukiwa kitu moja. So wacha nione udhamana kwa mume wangu, na sisi wanawake na sisi tuone udhamana kwa waume zetu, na sisi na wanaume nao waone udhamana kwa huyo mwenye alimuona siku ya kwanza na akampenda.
Ni kweli. Na sasa hata ukiongea juu yake vibaya hata kwa wazazi wako, hii ni kuonyesha makosa si yake, ni wewe. Si ni chaguo lako, kwani ulikuwa umefungwa macho. Okay? So na sisemi ati tufunike uchi, lakini wakati mwingine kama vile tulikuwa tunasema, kama ni kweli nilikuchagua na ukanichagua, kama kuna jambo sipendi, situongee. Kwa sababu sasa in form of gossip, as much as we try to share one another, we don't bring value to the other person. That is what, yes.
Nilikuwa nikiuliza. Kuvalue mtu ni kama vile tulikuwa tumesema sometimes back, ya kwamba yeye akiwa alikuwa pengine tukioana akiwa chini kiasi, kwa njia moja ama nyingine, wakati ulikuwa ukifunza juu ya submit, unaenda chini ili umuinue, kwa sababu unamdhamini.
Kweli. That is true. Kwa sababu katika hayo unamuinua hata kiwango yake, unampea what we are calling, sasa hata kama hakuwa na worth, anakuwa na worth. Kama she was not good, she excels. If she was not useful, she becomes useful, or he becomes useful, then she is also important.
Pia ni vizuri kujua na kutilia maanani. Ile kitu itatuma umpe value yake, ni kujua majukumu yake na yeye ni nani.
Ni kweli.
Jambo la kwanza lazima ujue huyo ni mke wako. Na hauna mke mwingine ila huyo. Hiyo kwanza ndio inakupea namba moja, huyo ndio mke wako. Mwingine yote kule nje sio mke wako. Jambo la pili ni vizuri kujua huyo ndio mama ya watoto wako. Hawezi penda watoto kama upendi mama yake. Kwa hivyo hapo pana uzito, lazima ujue value zake, yeye ndiye mama wa watoto wako. Hiyo mambo ukiyajumuisha hivi, utakuta utampea zile value anatakiwa na ile heshima ambayo inamfaa.
Ni kweli. That is very correct. Kwa sababu tusipojua ni nini yake au yeye ni nani, then we will never give them the respect. Ukiona mtu anagobanisha mke wake mbele ya watoto, wewe humheshimu. Okay? Na tena hata kama ni mama anapigia mzee kelele mbele ya watoto, hata kumwambia sasa wewe unakuja saa hii unafanya, badala ya baadaye waongee, sasa ni kufanya asidhaminike mbele ya watoto, kwa sababu anataka ile tu, we call it bad mouthing. you badmouth somebody even before the children. And that is very important. So one important thing, and I'm saying it may look just a simple word value. I want to say this. In fact, sometimes how we respect, how we treat one another, how we trust one another is because do we value that person? Yes, Constance. So when we are talking about valuing a person means you must first be able to recognize what they mean to you. Okay? It is my husband. It is not another man. Okay? Not my brother. When they are, like sometimes when there are quarrels between maybe a wife and the mother-in-law, unless the man is able to distinctively tell, aweze kutofautisha na aweze kujua dhamana ya kila mmoja, sasa kutakuwa na shida ya mabishano. Ajue huyo ni mama, huyo ni bibi. Mama ako na dhamana yake kama mama yangu, lakini amenilea mpaka hapa. Kwa hivyo kama ni chakula sasa nimepata wa kunipikia, huyo nimpe dhamana yake kama my wife, ndiye atakuwa akishughulikia mambo yangu personal, kwa sababu nimefika umri ya kuacha mama na baba na kuungana na mke wangu. Lakini asipotofautisha hapo dhamana, kutakuwa na shida.
Mwalimu, niko na swali.
Yes.
Kama vile tulifunza mambo ya understanding, tukaambiwa first ndio uweze kuunderstand mwenzako, ni lazima wewe uweze kwanza kujiunderstand. Does it also apply to value? Lazima kwanza mimi niweze kujidhamini, ndio niweze kumdhamini mwenzangu.
Very true, very true. That is exactly what I wanted to say. That value comes with the fact that we unajua we ni nani. Sasa unajua huyu mwingine ni nani. Okay? Like now that's what I'm saying. If it's a man, si yeye ndiye ameenda na amesema nimefika umri wa kuoa. Okay? So na nimeleta bibi. Kama kukiwa na mizozo kati ya mama na mke wake, yeye ndiye anatakiwa kila mmoja wao aweze kujua role yake na dhamana yake. Hata naweza ambia mama yenyewe ni vizuri, ni asanti kwa chakula, lakini najua bibi yangu ananingojea, amenipikia. What does that mean? You already recognize your mom. Sikusema unakataa chakula, yeah, mom, unajua hii siku zote mpaka pale nimefika umenipikia. Lakini sasa nimekuwa na mpishi wa kunipikia sasa. Nitakunywa pengine chai, nitaenda kula. In that way, you are telling your mom, I have a wife. Okay? Na namdhamini. Na singetaka kumkazirisha. Lakini wengine hawataki hata kujua, si nikula kwa si mama yangu, you know, and then at the end of it kunakuwa na shida. That's what I'm saying. You first value yourself. Who are you? You are man enough. Because as a man, you should be able to leave your father and mother and cleave to your wife. And that's where now you bring the value. Who is this woman I've brought in the house? Or if it is a lady, sasa huyu ni my husband. Different from your brother. So kwa hivyo huwezi kuwa ukiongea za your husband to your brother hata kama you are very close. Because this is now, we say that you are taught the other time to keep private affairs private. Yes. Okay. Let's look at very fast how we can value one another. Now, but before that, there is a scripture. Philippians 2, verse 3 to 4. Philippians 2, verse 3 to 4, it says, let nothing or do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking for your own interest, but each of you the interest of others. So even in valuing somebody, you value them because first, you're not just only looking upon your interest, but also the interest of the other. And maybe just like what he said, it's like you care. You want to value that other person. To be important, to have worth, to have respect, to have usefulness. Tuko pamoja. So let's look at various ways of how to value one another. And you can tell me, knowledge must not be only one side. Okay? Margaret. Yes. Yeah, you see, so you must have something.
We value each other by praying for each other.
Yes, we can pray for one another.
Sacrifice.
Yes, sacrifice, true, right there. Varying, praying, and one of them is sacrifice. And this sacrifice can also be like what my sister is saying. You are taking time to pray for that person. You can even decide to even fast. Somebody maybe has no job, but you'd want God to lift them up. You value them because they are part of you. You know, you feel them, and then what you do, you can sacrifice anything for them. Yes. Then support, correct. Support means now they have goals, they have dreams, they are valid. You have seen, oh, I would want to make, we say you are able to show that by supporting their goals, their their expectations of what they need. Something else? Yes.
Prevent.
Yeah, like prevent au kama una mushield. We call it protecting. Okay, protect them from others. It's like we call it we'll be looking at one of the verbs that helps us on that. We are talking about this person because he's so precious. Kama vile unaweza nunua uko na apple hapa, then you go and find what do you call it is screen guard, screen guard, and then maybe even the ear chini ikianguka. So what do we do now? These people we value. What happened? Tunawalida kutoka wale wanaweza ingilia. Kama ni mama yako akiongea, mwambie mami, ikifika ni kuongea juu ya bwana yangu, hapana, hiyo ni mambo hatuwezi discuss. Kama ni wamama mnakutana, hey, wachana mume wangu, mimi hata utamjui. Ni vile tu mnamnonga pale. Mnaonanga pale akihubiri, mimi ndio namjua. Then mnaongea. Now you are not protecting your husband. Ikifika hapo, mwambie yenyewe yangu, we can't talk here. This is between us, okay? So you prevent, as he says, protect one another. That is very important. Something else? Yes.
Caring.
Yeah, we care and support one another. So care means we can do all this: protect, support, even sacrifice. Another thing that has come out always, for there to be value, you can't value somebody and you don't talk to them. Now, I don't know how we will do, but this word, I don't know whether we have talked about any of our, how do you call it, the alphabet, and we have not talked about communication. Whether it is in trusting, whether it is in understanding, whether it is in respecting, whether it is what else. We have not failed to say communicate. Kwa sababu sasa watu wawili wako pamoja, wanaweza enda aje bila kuongea. Can two people work together unless they are in agreement? Na agreement ni kusema munaongea. So in that way, you value one another. You value your companion. Imagine watu mnaendanga na hivi, mkiwa mnaenda safari na muongei. Hiyo safari itakuwaje? And that's sometimes what we do. We are in a marriage and it is nearby mouth. Kama ile daktari anaandika mtu wa kutoka theater. We are always from theater. N by M. Nearby mouth. Jioni, asubuhi. Very sad. Something else? Yes.
Encourage.
Yes, we encourage one another by supporting, protecting. Something else? Implement. Yes, we should do all this, and then after that, implement. Okay, I know you meant compliment. Compliment. Compliment means you can take conscious effort in saying, I like the way, or I love the way you provide for the family. You value that person. A man comes and says, I value the way you take care of the kids. Wakati unakuja na naona watoto wamekula, hawapii kelele, tunaweza kuwa na nafasi ya kuongea, naona hiyo unanidhamini. Okay? Kwa sababu anaona you are doing everything to make him comfortable. So it's important to compliment. The same as we say appreciation. Kwa sababu I can appreciate and say, by the way, I like the way you do your hair. I like the way you pray for the family. I like the way you lead the family. You know, all that. I like the way you are devoted to work in church. You are complimenting. That means you are giving people value.
Can buying gifts apply to compliment?
Yes, that is also part of the appreciation. It can be in the form of, hey, by the way, nimekumbuka nimeona hii kiatu ninaona inaweza kutosha. That is also compliment, appreciation and compliment.
To share your present and future plan.
Yes, because now, as you say, you can't share with somebody you don't value. Our dreams and our goals ni zile tuna guard hivi. Mtu asisikie nataka kwenda pahali aseme, huyo hakuna pahali anaenda. Achana, ni kujisema tu juu. Lakini lakini ukiwa una mtu unamwambia, my wife, this is what I would want, na desire, ningetaka Mungu akinisaidia nifanye hivi nafanye hivi, then you value that person kwa sababu you are giving them very important information.
Apologize.
Good. Apologize. This is very important because you value a person kwa sababu umemkosea, unaona ni wa dhamana. This relationship staki kose au iwe na shida kwa sababu nimekaa ngumu. I really value you and I value that we should be able to relate well. I'm sorry, my dear. And then you realize you do well. Yes, sister. Yes, forgiveness. Once somebody has apologized, see now unasema unaona nilikuwa nakwambia. So we forgive now, and we say, after somebody has apologized, forgive. In that way, you value the person. Because you indeed acknowledge, I also make mistakes, let me forgive you. The other one who is apologizing shows you are very important. You are more important than me being right. So, and because I'm wrong, naungama dhambi zangu.
Respect. Respect.
Yes, respect is part of it, where we are able to show the support or sacrifice or show acceptance. Yes, the respect as we prioritize one another in supporting and protection. And so, if you are apologizing and forgiving and complimenting, means, as we said, value is to value, give somebody importance, respect them, elevate them. Something else? Yes.
Appreciate.
Yes, appreciate. That is good. And as we said, you appreciate also, but also still do what? It's still the same as complimenting. You are telling us that even if you value a person, na uko na deni mpaka ya dawari, enda ulipe deni, wacha kuwa na kitu ya mkopo, au kama uliahidi, nasema dawari si ati lazima utoe hiyo milioni mingi, lakini kama uliambia mzazi, nipe msichana wako, tukae na yeye, lakini Mungu akinibariki nitakuletea hii. Hiyo ni ahadi yako. That's a vow, as the Bible says. When you make a vow, fulfill it. Because God is never. So, I mean, you have valued this woman. Please go and do what you are supposed to do. Okay, and then something else, I mean, if she is valuable, he's valuable, why wouldn't you also find, as he says, gifts? Okay? He's your husband. You get a good shirt. Hata kama hii pesa nilikuwa nataka kunijulia kiatu. What do you do?
Ndio hiyo sasa.
Oh, ndio hiyo sasa. Unatafuta nini? Unatafuta hiyo kiatu au shati unamletea. What does that communicate? I value you. Okay? Yes, so I believe that you continue to love. This is not the only things that we can do. Many others, because I believe that as we continue to communicate, to prioritize one another, forgive one another, compliment one another, then we keep showing that the other person is valuable. And I pray that God helps us. You want to say something?
I have a question.
Oh.
If you value someone and you sacrifice a lot in that value, and it's not doing anything, will you continue doing because you love it?
That's a question that's loaded.
Yeah, because that is very subjective. Most of the women, let me put it that way, generally, they value their children. Those children will do all manner of mistakes, and they will be forgiven. Wait until the father of those children does one mistake. And it will be repeated several times in the course of time.
Unajua ulifanya hivi nikakusamehe.
So yet, and I think it just basically boils down to the value on that relationship. And many times we forget that our children are with us for a very, very short time.
True.
Kwa sababu mtoto akiwa, by the time that they are 14, ikiwa wanaenda boarding school, that is the last time they will spend adequate time with you. Watakuwa wageni kwako for the rest of their lives. So hiyo miaka ni michache sana. But your husband or your wife, you are together with her or him the rest of your life.
So you are telling us who we must decide.
We must be able to place adequate value on what we will last with us. Kwa sababu hata hawa pia wanataka kwenda huko nje na the foundation ile wamepata kwa nyumbani huenda ikawa ndio ile foundation wataenda kuweka kwa ndoa zao. Wakikuta ya kwamba a man who values the wife, hata the boy children who are from that family, when they go out there, they will value their wives. If it's a girl who found the mother values the husband, akitoka huko, yeye aende pia atavalue the husband kwake. So it also lays a foundation. So if even ikiwa ni watoto, if we value them, let us value the mother or the father of those children.
Give them the value they deserve, but the husband or your wife has a higher value than your children. That's what we are saying. Because these children are what we call beneficiaries. The person who was in that contract is your husband or your wife. And you're going with him till death do us part. But by the time they are 20-something, they have left the nest.
I think hapo nikiongeza kidogo, ukiingia kwa moyo wa mama, ndani kabisa, ile kitu utakuta ni upendo wa watoto wake. Kwa hivyo kama ungependa kumfikia kwa haraka,
that one you may not, let's not finalize it. It's not, that one we disagree.
Before the children come, it is you and your wife. So that first love, it is for the two of you, not the children, because already you don't have children.
But kama mwanaume, huwezi kuwa hupendi watoto na useme unapenda mama yake. It's very impossible. Kwa hivyo jambo la kwanza, juu unapenda mke wako, lakini watoto wape nafasi yao. Kwa sababu huwezi waluka uende kwa mama direct. Ndio nasema katika mambo ya kupenda ama kunini doa, lazima upende watoto ndio mke wako aone ile unity kwa family.
Kwanza upende watoto halafu but I don't think you ever came first. It's not now here. It's no debate about an egg or a chicken. Who came first before the children? And in case in that marriage we don't have children, you wouldn't love your wife?
Wacha niseme jambo.
That's a question.
Wacha niseme jambo. Kila mtu ambaye ako katika jamii yetu ako na dhamana yake. Ikiwa ni mtoto ako na dhamana ya mtoto. Ikiwa ni spouse ako na dhamana yake as a spouse.
True.
And we can ikiwa ni mzazi, kwa sababu pia wakati mwingine unaona ya kwamba hata wazazi ama ndugu you are also relating. Wako na dhamana yao katika huo uhusiano. Na hakuna mmoja ambaye anastahili kuingia nafasi ya mwingine.
True.
Ikiwa ni upendo wa mtoto, ni upendo wa mtoto. Ikiwa ni upendo wa mama ama ni upendo wa bwana, hiyo iko na nafasi yake. Na ukichunguza sana hususan wale ambao ni wazee kidogo, unaona kuna pahali ambapo mama, ikiwa ni say for example even at the home, kuna vitu ilikuwa ya baba, hata ikiwa ni chakula inawekwa hapo, hata amefidi watoto, sahani yake ndiyo hiyo, kiti yake ndiyo hiyo, kwa sababu kuna dhamana amemtia katika hiyo jamii. Kwa hivyo hakuna mtu anastahili kuchukua nafasi ya mwingine. Mtoto asichukue nafasi ya mzazi, mzazi asichukue nafasi ya mtoto. Na ikiwa ni ndugu na mama ama mzazi, you know, extended family, pia wako na dhamana yao. Na tukiwa tunajua ya kwamba hilo jambo na tunadhamini kila mmoja katika jamii zetu, tutakuwa na amani na huo upendo utadumu.
I get you. It's okay.
Unaweza separate upendo wa mama na mtoto?
Yes. Very. In fact, let me give an example. It's not that we are perfect, but I want to give us the example of us. Now, when we got married, okay, we had time about a year to bond and be together. And so our children come and we love them. But they keep saying, and they kept saying that they know their side plate. Why? Even when they come home, I'll cook. And because sometimes I will serve the food either in the kitchen. The only plate nilikuwa natoka nayo jikoni. Yeah. Alafu, then they will know, yeah, then they would look at one another and they know. The rest I would say, I will have served the food, but I'm not bringing it in the table. The only person, and they only know. Sometimes there's like, oh, you ni anani, and they know whose it is. So as much as and I realize now, okay, part of what we learn to call ourselves, because also something I think I should have mentioned, that we show value of one another, even by the way, how we address one another, in private and also in public. Now, we learn to call ourselves one another dear until it becomes like our name. So we realize that sometimes our children will be calling, Mom, 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 and then they are realizing they are not getting my attention. Halafu nasikia mmoja anasema, dear, you know, the way anajua naitangwa naitika. So anaona kama yeye ananiita naitika. So when they are trying to get my attention or his attention, then they would use the name we call one another. Now, in that way, we realized, okay, as they grew, they realized one of the things that our son, even who got married last year, confessed. He said, one of the things that I've learned from you, Dad, is the way you have loved Mom. And the fact that you loved her, we knew we also loved. One thing you communicate love to the children is when you love their mother. The same way with a woman, you show love to your children if you love their father. You know, the issue is this. If I badmouth, I keep saying, baba yenu, what am I telling them? You are a product of a bad man. They grow up having no self-worth because they think, I mean, baba yetu, kama ni mbaya, hata mimi am a man, I may be like him. So you are also not giving them worth when you badmouth their father, even in front, or even when they don't know, because they will always think we are a product of a bad man. Yes.
I was asking this question. Can you be the one, you alone, you are the one who is valuing that partnership you are having? You alone. And the other partner is not doing it.
And it can happen because sometimes we say, even when everything goes bad, one of you must remain sane. Okay? When we find a deteriorating relationship, what happens is sometimes is when now we go trying to do one another. So that like, you know, your case where you are not respecting me, I'm not respecting you. So we start abusing one another. So what happens in that when one of you, I mean, both of you are not sane. For any relationship ever to get amended or to come back to its original state, I keep saying, one of you must remain safe. What you call sane. Okay? At least there must be a beacon where huyu alienda au amepotoka ataona huyu agari amesimama. If you know, just like what the Bible says, if we become unfaithful, God will remain faithful because he cannot deny himself. So what happens? In that relationship, you don't become unfaithful because somebody else has become unfaithful. You don't devalue him because he's devaluing you. Once you remain sane, then the person can see from where alipotea njia. Okay, otherwise the rest will be just a blame game. Yeah.
What about what if unafanya lakini yeye hayuko hapo? Na hata unafanya anajua tu lakini yeye hayuko.
No, I think some of those things, some of those things you can never be able, anytime that there is even, and you know from experience, anytime that there is an accusation from one end, you can never be able to judge until you hear from the other end.
True.
Kwa sababu sana sana unaona mtu, kila mtu in such a situation anafanya nini, anasema mazuri kumhusu, lakini sio kwa yule mwingine. For example, let me give an example. Unaweza kuwa ni wewe unatoa pesa, lakini pia huheshimu yule mwingine. Unaona kuna kakitu ya kutomuheshimu, like hata ingawa ni wewe unatoa pesa. Kwa hivyo hiyo sio value, you're not valuing the other person. Kwa hivyo it is very hard for somebody to make, for that to, I believe as a class, to make a judgment. What if this is happening? What if this is not happening? Unless you are able to reason and know the conditions for both of them. Huyu anasema hivi, and then you finally realize one of them is not valuing. And in that case, start valuing your family.
And I think part of why we are here is because we said there is remedy. Even in that bad situation, if people are ready to work on it, we have people that help even in counseling families, so that what the other person is not doing may also be able to see. Sometimes some people may think, I'm doing all this and he's not seen or she's not seen. So when you give up, and then maybe the person was almost like, I had already seen, then you find you are not rescuing your family. Au itaparekebika. Kurekebishwa.
Pengine mimi ningesema, in my marriage for the first 6 years, nilipata that taste of value. Kwa sababu ilifika mahali kwa miaka 6 hatukupata mtoto. And people used to point fingers like, no, it is this lady, in church, back to where we live. And now there is a time my husband stood up and said, I didn't love you because you have children, but because I loved you even before even you have those children. So I will still love you even if we don't have children. So he came up and stood up for me, and nobody could stand and accuse me that I'm not having children, they speak bad of me. He stood, and at that moment, I knew he valued me.
True. Wow, that's a very good case. What I'm saying is, for value, you must be able to show the other person has significance and importance. Yes.
Okay, Mwalimu, kindly tueleze, because something that you value is something that you'll never want to lose. It's something that you want to be with and to protect. So kindly share with us maybe 3 or 4 points zinaweza fanya the value ya mtu nianze kuona value hiyo mwingine imeenda chini, ama mimi mwenyewe mume wangu aanze kuona value yangu imeenda chini, so that tusiwache hizi vitu ziweze kuingia kwa ndoa zetu.
Ni kweli. Nasema ya kwamba naweza kuwa sina yote, lakini one of the things that you realize watu wana lose value. Like the other day, nilikuwa na case where people are just not long in marriage. And as we were talking about the issues, kuna vile the young man told me, simwambie ache kujiachilia. Okay? Ati anatoka tu na jioni nakuta vile tu aliamuka na t-shirt na nini. So I think hata kama unajua unaweza taka kupendwa, lakini kuna vile hata kama uko nyumbani. Kasema unajua wakati tulikuwa tunachubiana, kuna vile alikuwa anajipodoa kidogo na sasa nilikuwa napenda hivyo, lakini saa hii hata hana makeup at all. Nakuta hakuna makeup, nywele ameachilia hivyo, vile aliamuka asubuhi unampata. So as much as we want our value to go, kuna vile anaangalia, did I get what I saw?
Can we go back to...
So we thank you so much for the contribution. I know there is a lot to talk. We can also have a lot that we can discuss beyond here in the forum, in the that is in the Facebook and all that. But we also value your contributions even now and later. So we can continue with the topic outside the class, because the class always has a limited time. Thank you so much, everyone. It's good. I believe that we continue asking ourselves, like what he has asked, how do we lose our value for one another? Thank you. God bless.
To get the notes of today's lesson, visit www.mbcimedia.com/TMC. Catch the repeat of the marriage classroom every Tuesday at 10 p.m.